Hey everybody, this is Jim coming at you, and I've got the doors put on my truck here, and it's a tricky thing. I tell you what, too, boy, these doors, I don't know exactly how much they weigh. I should have put them on the scale just to find out. I'm really curious to know. Now, this truck is kind of unique in that I bought it absolutely in pieces. I had never seen the truck in one piece when I bought it. I just saw all the parts. But the good news to that is that you get to see the back side of everything. So you're not buying anything that you don't know what it is. You know, I could see what rust was there, I could see what dents were there and things like that. The downside is that I didn't know how everything was going to fit together. And so you start putting the thing together and you got to do little tweaks and things. And the gentleman who took it apart probably wasn't as careful as he could have been. He bent a few things up. And I just had to straighten that out as I went. I wanted to go with an old shop truck vibe, so I did some artwork on the door here, which I personally am very pleased with. The Sketchy Past Hot Rod Shop. But as I was saying, because this is an older truck, somebody actually at one point had done like a resto mod thing to it. So the only latch is on the inside. You have to reach inside to unlock the door. Unlatch the door. You can see there's no door latches on the outside. And so I've got the door mounted back up. One thing that I would highly recommend, and this may not be an issue for you with your build, but I know for me, what I did is I chased all the threads. It may sound like a really obvious thing, but a lot of guys don't do it. And I know I've fought my way sometimes through threading new bolts onto old steel and just fighting with the thing the whole way down. But by going ahead and chasing those threads, you're going to use a little lubricant to do that, and boy, those new threads just drill right in, just go right in there, no problem. You know, you wrench them right down. It makes just life a whole lot easier. And you can see inside the door here, inside the panel, there are 3 bolts that allow the door to be aligned front to back at the top. There's also bolts behind this panel, 3 bolts that do the same thing at the bottom, and then you can adjust it here on the inside and there. Now it is worth noting, a lot of people, I don't know why, but I've seen guys do some crazy stuff on these. And I'm going to go across to the passenger side here. If you see that panel down by the kick, you can see this big opening right here. You can access all of the door bolts from there. The backside bolts are in like a slider, and sometimes those will rust up so tight that you'll actually break those off. And again, the gentleman who had taken the truck apart had done that with a number of these bolts. And so just by having that kick panel removed, I can get right in there and I can get at all the bolts from the back side, get everything taken apart properly without having to strip stuff out and stuff like that. So it's worth noting that you can do that on both sides of the truck, and makes life easier. I actually saw somebody at one time, he actually carved into the metal on the outside of the truck over here, and he didn't need to do that at all. He just didn't know to take that kick panel off. You can actually see the inside of the hinge right there, and they can't see it so well at the bottom one because it's actually down below the floor panel here is the other hinge. But they recess right on in there, and that's how they work. So for whatever that's worth to anybody, thought that might be helpful. But door fitment is very much a matter of patience and just trial and error. Line it up as best you can to start out with. If you've got old lineup spots, there's actually like a dent a lot of times where the washer was. You can line it up with that as your starting point, and then you can go from there. As with many doors, my doors were saggy, and so when I first put it on the truck, the joints here, the spaces were pretty wonky. The door was drooping pretty bad at the back end. And so I just had to keep playing with it until I got it adjusted to where all the body lines worked and all of the seams lined up, and I've got the proper spacing all the way around the door. And still you're going to have it's a 60-year-old truck, man. I mean, you're going to still run into some issues occasionally, and so it's a little snug right here where the cowl area meets the door, but it clears. There's no drag. It's not making contact, and so I'm going to leave it be. Again, with a 55 truck, it's a 60-year-old vehicle. The back side looks nice and straight. The top looks straight. The bottom looks good. I'm happy with it. The fender line is good right here. A little bit bigger than it is at the back, but if I went any further forward, then this would make contact because it's just about a hair's breadth in there, and that's it. So just for what that's worth regarding doors, I hope that might help you out with your project. And I used, by the way, in case you're wondering, the trial and error works, but if you're using some wood shims, that's not a bad way either to help you get some alignment. You can make sure the spacing's all the same as you're going around the door, and you can actually tighten those from inside with the door closed. That'll give you also a good way to start if you don't know how to line that up. So again, hope that helps you guys out. Have a great one.